As we by now must be aware, we have two selves effectively. We have our real selves, the real you, which stands in the real universes of the is at this very new moment, and the personal little created self, which stands in the creational simulator. Of course, there is no separation. The real self, the personal self, the real universes, and the creational matrix all are a part of the is. And so, if everything in fact is, there can be no separation from this perspective, this real view, the perspective of one standing with the is, universally positioned in a state we may call being isness. There is only one place that an individual can place themselves that would give them a limited sense of perspective, the sense that there is space and time, the sense of separation. That would then be a position of not standing with the is. For if we step outside of the is, if we no longer is, then we must be with our personal created self. We have chosen to slip into creation, therefore. Creation is a part of the is, and at this moment we can stand real with the is while still being in the simulator, but only if we have the awareness that this is possible. If we are aware of the true reality that from our literal perspective is beyond creation. If we have no knowledge of the is, then all we have is creation, for our experience reflects always what we decide, what we choose, what we are aware of, and incorporate into our lives. This, we can say, is our focus, our attention, and where we place this massively impacts our experience. We might well say that focus is one of the primary means by which we navigate the matrix, where we position ourselves, and ultimately, if we supersede it altogether, and universally position ourselves with the is. How can we focus on something that doesn't even feature in our considerations, something that we have no awareness of? We all will have our real selves standing with the is, and even with no awareness of the true reality, we will have access to the intuitive self, the ethereal vehicle, and so we will always have nudges from the intuitive self. We will always have a sense that there is something beyond what we have always known. But again, unless we can pinpoint this nudge, unless we can determine the nature of it, we cannot place our focus and intent with the all is. This we call our real intent, the purpose for why we are in this simulator, that is, to recognize the is and stand real with it. In the meanwhile, then, we are rather floundering in the simulator. We are chasing our little personal self-intents, all the various goals, thrills and objectives we deem so very important. Without any knowledge of the real universes of the is, this would make sense. For what else might we do in creation, if not create, and experience the effects of our creations? This is, of course, the nature and design of the matrix. It is provided as a tool, a means to generate experience through our creations, collating a database of experience that we store in our causal akashic vehicles, that someday the knowledge of the is might become known to us. We may one day become aware of it, and then put all our experiences, all our references to good use, that being as comparisons to recognize the is. So in the meantime we gather our experiences. We may not have the awareness that the is exists, or that we can stand real in the new nowness moment of it even in creation. And if we are not being isness, we are in place outside of it, literally speaking, and everything becomes separate. There is space, distance, time, and segregation of individual experiences. Individuals may well conquer aspects of their personal selves. They may get a handle on the 5 vehicles that incorporate the created self. Many meditators and mystics throughout the eons have certainly conquered the emotions and the mind, getting control over the emotional, astral, and mental vehicles. This would have them then, on transitioning from the physical, bypassing these life levels and finding themselves in the ethereal level. Again, everything is, everything contained in this and every new moment. All 5 life levels and vehicles is, effectively, and only from the perspective of one not standing real with the is, would the levels, the vehicles, appear separate, and distance seems to exist between them. Travelling seems to be required to get from point A to point B. Anything other than standing with the is, standing real in this reality, and we will have to travel as we navigate the physical life levels and the life levels that seem beyond. If we are still in creation, then we haven't the full recognition of the ease to be able to supersede the simulator, and so we might say we cannot fully be standing with the ease entirely. We can be in the new nowness of the is, but we are still in the simulator, and so we are restricted to the trappings, the rules of the matrix. We are resigned to the personal self-consideration of separation. We have to walk from point A to point B. Some individuals do recognize the is at this time and stand real with it. Dwayne Hepner certainly did not have to return to the Matrix. He might very well have remained with the is, but he accepted the task as the best candidate for the position. So we can see that even with a recognition of this true reality, even with no need to be in the simulator, once you step within it, you will require the vehicles that correspond to the 5 life levels and have to deal with the limitations all this implies, that of separation, time and distance. Even the real guides, if they operate on the physical life level, must be equally hampered by distance and space. They would, as everyone on the physical level would be, subject to cause and effect, for it is cause and effect that is the principle that forged what seems to be space and time for the literal personal self's consideration. Beyond the simulator, in the true reality, everything is. There is no cause and effect. Naturally, then, there is nothing that seems to present as the passage of time and distance traversed. Cause and effect is the design of the simulator, for without cause and effect there would be no experience, and experience is essential for our causal reference catalogue. Everything we cause, everything we create, everything we activate through the facilities of our 5 body vehicles, the ideas, agreements, etc., we then have the experience that follows, the effect. It's a little like bringing an image onto your computer screen. We might call this an idea in its potentiality, an idea we have formed with our mental vehicle. If we decide upon it, if we agree with it, it is like hitting the enter button on our keyboards. The image now is on the computer screen, in the computer, and not just a potential idea yet to be cemented, to be agreed upon. The idea has transitioned from a floaty idea notion with little substance to an agreed upon idea, and now it must feature in our life, or a future life as experience. We can see then that the entertaining of ideas or emotions isn't necessarily a hazard in regards to generating experience we'd sooner not have, especially when we are endeavouring to focus on the is and remain as best as we are able in this being isness, new nowness state. It's only when we cement an idea, we decide upon it, we agree with it, that it's rather a done deal. We have now created, and the experience that follows must be walked through. Of course, we can change direction. We can decide at any moment something different. We have far more options when we have far more awareness. What is decided in one moment can now be abandoned with an equal measure of decisiveness, and perhaps we may experience something of the original cause, the original idea, maybe a faint whiff of the experience, but not anything like its full magnitude. Ideas of an emotional nature, even if abandoned, can still have the emotional vehicle stimulated. It's like priming the pump, preparing a machine for use, getting it powered up to capacity, then switching it off instead of utilizing it. The machine will take time to simmer down, a few groans of protestation from mechanics that were preparing to roar into life as they settle back and slowly return to a dormant state, like when you turn off the kitchen stove. It will not return immediately to its dormant state. It takes a few moments to cool. It is this way with the emotional vehicle. It is one of the most potent of all the vehicles, perhaps the most difficult to get under control, as it is the vehicle most utilized. We say how every individual is generally physical astral, as most experiences unconscious peoples will have a tendency to forge, will be those stemming from the astral vehicle. Ideas of an emotional, thrill-seeking variety, as this is predominantly the vehicle most utilized for experiences. It is the strongest, and when it comes to the moment in an individual's lifetimes, they seek to get control of the body vehicles. It is the emotional vehicle that undoubtedly will be the most difficult to deal with. And so perhaps, as an example, We might have an idea. We make a decision, and our decided idea is based on emotion, and we might then perhaps decide different at the point where we are about to actualize our idea. Whatever action this idea may take, with the inevitable effect experience that must follow. Even though we have now perhaps evaded the full extent of the effect that would have been ours should we have followed through with the action or cause, the emotionally charged astral vehicle takes its time to simmer down, and we get vague echoes of the effect regardless. In the moments we may have experienced the full magnitude of the effect we had decided to exact, and in the moments that follow the abandoning of an emotionally charged idea, the idea remains. It diminishes slowly in its intensity, but it is rather the discipline to be in the experience of having the emotional idea demanding to be executed, and it is rather easy to give into the strength of the astral personal vehicle and allow it what it wanted.